pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, in case everybody has seen Al Walker, he's not going to be here tonight. He has the flu. He's sick. Better that he stays home. So we'll start with number 3, discuss a recap of the meeting with Hawkinson Anderson. And Shane, you and I talked a little bit, whatever, If you want, I know you'd want to address some of that, whatever, and give the floor to you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So basically, to kind of recap it, I mean, actually, I have our agenda from when you and I and Councilmember Case met. We basically had 2 items on the agenda. And the first item was reasonable expectations of the city engineer, and the second item was reasonable expectations for construction contracts. And some of the things that we talked about is that it's unreasonable to expect us to change the way the entire construction industry works. The construction industry is really big, and we're really unlikely to have any influence on it. Talked a little bit about the 305th project, how it actually went okay, but it seemed like, at the end of the day, the project got done. To the average resident, I think they would look at it and say, hey, this project looks good. But I don't know that everyone shares that opinion with the city council. We talked a little bit about the 278th patch and the hairline cracks, touched on the final payment to Knife River for the work that's been completed. And then we kind of started talking more about some of the issues or some of the concerns and really how the city needs the Knife Rivers of the world. They're a large contractor. They have a lot of manpower, a lot of resources, and at the end of the day, only the large contractors can complete some of these larger road projects, and sometimes it feels like we're tripping over a dollar to pick up a dime. We also talked about the unit price contract and how for road projects, they're often utilized because you're always working on a new site. You always have different site conditions, different surroundings. We talked about variables. Earthwork is always going to be a big variable. It's impossible to 100% accurately estimate compaction factors. It's difficult. You can't see underground. You can do soil borings, but you still can't, maybe find all of your variables. And I actually had these pavement cores in the room, and so this pavement core right here is a 2-inch thick pavement core. The one on my right is 2 1/4 inch thickness. So even for something as simple as 2 inches of pavement, you're allowed a 1/4 inch variation in the specification, and so you're allowed this. And on a larger project, say like 100th and 297th, this would result in a $60,000 cost differential than this. So this 1/4 inch makes up about $60,000 based on average bid prices. But the difference is that you're getting exactly what you pay for. If you pay more, you get more. And that's kind of how unit price contracts work. And we talked a little bit about how it increases contractor confidence. It helps the city compare apples to apples. So we just talked a little bit more about unit price contracts. But then we went into, why we provided our notice. And really it came down to, it seemed like it just wasn't working out. It seemed like it was a no-win situation for us. Even to this day, it seems like we're not all on the same team. It doesn't always seem like we're, a real cohesive group. And we had a couple of minor items or minor misunderstandings with like the Elk Lake survey, attending the pre-con for the crack filling project. And our concern is, if we can't even get past those small issues, how are we ever going to deal with these large construction contracts? The reality is, in construction, There's always gonna be surprises. I mean, I don't care if it's house construction or road construction. But one difference is, like house construction, I have a couple good friends that are builders. And they like to build the same plan over and over again. And by that repetition, and it could be a plan, or it could be a house, it could be parts, but by that repetition, the first time they can estimate their materials pretty well. After 2 or 3 times of building the same house or the same floor plan, they can really narrow it in, and by the time they've built 10 of those houses, I mean, they know exactly how many 2x4s to order, how many bundles of shingles, how much sheetrock. They just, over repetition, they get it down. We never have that situation in road construction. We're always building, it may be a similar top, but it's always on a different area, different surroundings with different soils. And so really, to date, we have not had any significant surprises, but they happen. I mean, I've been involved in projects, especially large projects, where you have some underground, you just usually peat soils or poor soils, and there might be a change order that's several $100,000. And we just have a major concern on how the city would react to something like that. So with that, Mayor Swanson and Councilor Case asked us if we would reconsider our notice. They stated that they'd be supportive to making changes to reestablish our relationship, whether on a permanent or temporary basis. And here we are.
Tom, absolutely, you had many questions and concerns.
Yeah, so my main concern is, I stepped away from the road contact number 1. So Mr. Walker is the road contact number 1. But I just got a question. Does Hawkinson Anderson have a problem working with any city council staff or the current setup with Public Works and Zach? Because it's, this board has talked about Public Works position, but we're maintaining the same status quo for now. So I just want to know if you guys have any problem working with any of the city council members or Public Works.
Yeah, I think really what our concern is, a lot of cities your size would have a city administrator or somebody that, you have 5 different opinions, different ideas, different political views on certain aspects of the city. It's not normal for us to deal with those differences in opinions. And so that's where it puts us in a difficult position, I would say. And one perfect example of that would be the microsurfacing project. City council asked us to prepare plans, and then we were put on hold, and we were go again. And then, we didn't have very much time. We hurry up and got it out. And then, there was some comments that, we wish we would have had more time to look at this. And if we would have waited, say, another 4 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever, we probably would have missed the window for getting that bid and getting the project. So at times, it feels like we're in no-win situations. And I guess I'll just leave it at that. We deal with different personalities and different stuff all the time, but we more look at collectively, kind of, I guess, risk versus reward. So, and maybe I should say a little bit too. I mean, because I don't know. When we started our relationship, I did the incorporation report, but we never really talked about our firm or any background. And just so everybody here knows, so there's 3 principals or 3 board of directors, myself, Craig Yoakum, and Ron Wagner. All 3 of us are city engineers. So we've been partners for going on 20 years now, and we've built a company that specializes in municipal engineering. It's what we do, and we do it well is kind of our slogan. What that means is we do roads, stormwater, we do water and sewer conveyances, we do environmental, wetland type stuff. But we don't do a lot of things that, say, our larger competitors do. So we don't do bridges. If you want to do a bridge, you have to have a team of bridge engineers actually designing the project, and you have to have another team, or at least a person, that can work on the project to do the QC review. You know, bridge engineers are expensive. Same with wastewater treatment. Same with like underground, groundwater modeling or pollutant fade modeling. Some of that work requires PhDs. And we don't provide those services on purpose because it's not a service that most of our city clients needs. You don't always have that work. So by having those people there, it increases your overhead. And it's important to us to have low overhead, good rates, and you know, a lot of our competitors provide municipal engineering, but a lot of times their groups that do it are smaller than, say, you know, we're about 35 employees. A lot of times the groups that do it might be 15. And I don't know that we've ever had that talk, or I don't know if we ever pitched that to the city council. But at the same time, because we have low overhead, lower rates, we're able to be very competitive for other work. And I mean, that's where we're at. We have opportunities for other work. It might just make more sense for us to, if we can't get to a place where we're all getting along, where we're all happy, it might make sense for the city to look for different options. And at the same time, it makes sense for us to look at different options.
Well, no, I just wanted to clear the air because I heard the current setup wasn't working, and that I was a big problem with Hawkinson Anderson. So I just want to make it clear that I got 1 year left. I'm not running again. So, but I'm not the roads contact.
Right.
Al is, and Al is very knowledgeable in the roads. I just don't got the time and dedication to do it, but I will be his backup. But I just want to make it clear that we can work together, that you don't have an issue.
Yeah, I mean, we still, I don't know that we've navigated through some of our concerns. I mean, I don't know that we're right now, I'd say we're agreeing to continue on a temporary basis. And, you know, we're not gonna dictate what changes the city makes. That's entirely up to the city council. But, you know, it's, our concern is because of some of the, just the way some of the projects, I mean, I don't know if we have a project yet where everyone feels it went really smooth. And our concern is if we do run into major problems, are we gonna end up in litigation? That's just not something that we're interested in.
I think some of the projects have gone smooth. I mean, we got a lot done this year. We did
Okay, well, that's good.
we did micro surfacing.
Yep.
Yeah, there was some hiccups there. I'm not
Right.
gonna agree there. You know, 100th and 297th are what it is. I mean, we have to secure those easements to move forward with it. We did, you know, we got 300, the 278th, we got those fixed. We got the issues addressed there. We got a KIP plan in place for next year. The concern about the developments, you guys have driven the roads. You guys know how our condition is of our roads, and I don't think I think it was there's been projects successful. There's going to be, like you said, learning curves in everything here, but I would like to work together.
Yep.
And
if that's the general mentality, I think we can, we are willing to continue. It just has to be, we would like to see a more cooperative environment where just, I'll just leave it at that.
yeah, and
I think that's what everyone wants.
And there's differences among the city council where if we want to do stuff in-house versus, you know, hiring it out, having you guys do plans. I mean, that's something that we as a city council have to vote on and agree on. But, you know, like you said, there's a lot of projects I think went well. I think we can learn from it and move on, you know, from that and
Sure.
work together.
I was just gonna add, so at least my understanding, my understanding of getting is that you would prefer to have one contact and, you know, to talk to on all this and not have 5 contacts calling you or emailing you or that kind of thing. Preferred contact, email or phone, most of the time. Okay.
But, I mean, every case is different.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Sometimes
phone, if there really is a time-sensitive situation, I always say phone call.
Yep.
Because email is something, you know, I kind of get to it when I get to it. And I don't, I get like between 100 and sometimes over 100 emails a day.
And that
I
takes a
just don't want
long,
to sort through, to look through a bunch of emails, especially if I don't need to, you know.
well, and all 100 of them think their email's important, so, you know, what, I get that. That's why have one primary contact and have that be the only one that's contacting you, you know, having that interaction unless there's a hiccup.
Yeah, and a phone call can work too. I mean,
Yeah.
like it doesn't have to be, the problem with emails, I think, is sometimes people CC everybody.
Yep.
So they're all aware of it, and then you're not sure if you need to look at it or respond to it. And sometimes that leads to another email, and it feels like we're dealing with the same issue for
Right.
4 or 5 days.
We have problems with people that shouldn't be reply all, like, we got to reply all today, just so you know, that we shouldn't have. So, yeah. Al,
Oh, okay.
you replied all.
Okay.
Can't reply all, and
Yeah.
we talked about it before. That, I'm just trying to, I just want, for me, and I'm not really involved in the process other than we had the meeting, is that a streamlined chain of command, per se, that's from my, a streamlined chain of command, and what the expectations that we as city council and what you as engineering have, and I understand, we all have to work with these vendors and get along with these vendors, or we're not gonna be getting people to bid on our projects, and then our costs all go up.
Right.
So if we're a friendly environment to work with, we can get the people to bid on our projects. And that's, because I think we've noticed as a city council that we're not getting a lot of bids occasionally, some of these projects. And I would like to see a more competitive bidding process with that. Everybody likes to work, will like to work, and, you know, we've got a little, probably have some time before that would happen again, but get more people to bid. Especially if we're having this big, if this 297th, 100th. I want to see if we can accommodate your concerns and accommodate the rest of the city council's concerns, make this work. That's why Jay and I came and met with you.
Mr. Mayor? And I would say about the, excuse me, the communication, like with emails, I would probably work with Mr. Walker. We gotta work with him on replying to all. And then Public Works, Zach, because Zach kind of does the day-to-day stuff, and that's how I kind of ran it. But I also would CC on those emails Joan, because she's the gatekeeper for the whole city council, just on those.
Right.
And then if someone needs to pick up the phone to call you, whether it's Jay, whether it's Al, you know, have be it, so.
Okay, I have one more question. So you work with other municipalities, other cities of our size, and they normally have a city administrator. Are you getting contacted strictly by a city administrator, or is it coming through the city clerk / treasurer?
Sure, so, in situations where they have a city administrator, well, like City of Credit River, for example, they have a city administrator, everything comes from the city administrator. I rarely communicate at all with the city council members. Now then, they don't have an administrator, they have a city clerk / treasurer, everything comes from the city clerk / treasurer. I rarely communicate with them. Work with townships, it's exact opposite. Usually there's a road supervisor. I deal with this one contact. And that's, you know, that's usually by phone, because a lot of times it won't be, sometimes they don't have email.
Right.
But then, yeah, then like St. Francis, there's a public works director. We have, there, we kind of have a couple of contacts. It's a public works director and the community development director, public works director for roads and infrastructure, and then they have a lot of development, and that's through the.
Okay, I'm just trying to think of what the best, best way forward for Baldwin and for you guys to have our communication process work. And so we get these projects set up and get, planned and done, Because at the end of the game, we want to get these projects planned and done.
And I think communication, as Tom brought up, and we discussed it at your facility too, is key. Because I think there was a lack of communication. What constituted your guys' realm of responsibility, if you will, for the crack ceiling and all of those kind of things. Because you guys came to the pre-con meeting saying, we're handing it off, it's your guys'. Our people ultimately thought that, hey, well, you guys have some responsibility in that of some sort, whatever, and we're so, and I think as we move forward, when we lay out all of our communications in the very beginning, size of, you know what I mean? Because I can see Tom has a desire, Al now, to bring some things in-house, but obviously in order to get it off the ground in the right fashion, you guys are going to need to be involved in the beginning, whether it's the plan or what needs to happen. Facilitate some of the things to save us and our residents time and dollars as well. But where you start and stop and what the other responsibility would be, writing, all right, we're going to bring this point, whatever that point is, you know what I mean? And after that, you know what I mean? You guys are on your own. And then also too, I think that in the case of like this, you gave us a proposal to manage the project accordingly. Anyway, there it was. We chose not to, and then things came unraveled on our end. So if something like that is to happen again, here's kind of why I have pushed director of sorts right on this our end, so we have somebody instructed, trained, informed. Don't need PhDs, but we need you know what I mean? Da-da-da-da on our end, whatever, in order to be able to handle that. But when it doesn't work, then how do we get you guys involved? We're really trying. We are a hybrid, I'm going to say, of a township and a city. All of us come from 17 years of township background.
Right.
We don't have a city administrator. We're not going to hire a city administrator. We don't have full-time staff. We have Joan. Joan kind of is our city administrator. Literally dealing with everybody, but without the title. And so, you know, I mean, when you talk about a city administrator, that would be Joan. So if something needs to come to Joan and then get divvied out to the proper people, but the proper people could be different depending on what your scope. We're not going to build a bridge, probably. You know what I mean? But I mean, there could be road projects, there could be a park project, there could be different types of things where you would be involved, and it would be different people to be involved with. And so, and I have said too, like, you know, as Tom was the roads #1, anything that's coming in, and check me if I'm wrong, but anything that's coming in that's road related or parks related or whatever needs to go through town. Because if, you know what I mean, so that we have one person here understanding what hoops we're asking you to jump through and what hoops we're going to ask our maintenance department to jump through. You know what I mean? I mean, if maintenance is all busy doing whatever they're doing and something comes in, it's not necessarily an emergency. Well, we need one person. Well, I got them doing this, this, and this. Get down to that, do that. You see what I'm saying? Facilities director, if you will. On our end, this is part of what we discussed at their place too. I think the biggest thing was communication. We're going to ask you to do bits and pieces. Number 1, are you okay with doing just bits and pieces? Number 2, while we're thinking about that, whatever those bits would be, where do we start and where do we stop? So that we all have a clear understanding of.
Yeah, and with that micro surfacing project, or excuse me, the seal coating, crack sealing. That I was just asking, because, you know, we were running into some issues. So I was just reaching out to you as a subject matter expert. Hey, what do you do in these situations like this? We're running into some issues. I wasn't expecting you guys to, you know, jump in and do the inspection for us. I was just looking for some guidance as well. So I just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah, and our preference, I mean, our preference is to be involved in the larger projects. I mean, again, that's what we're built for. We have surveyors, we have wetland specialists, we have engineers, the fancy AutoCAD programs. That's what we're really good at. And so, I mean, we can do the smaller projects, we can prepare plans, but it's kind of like, it doesn't work as well to be half in and half out. So if you want us to take care of them, we will. If Zach wants to take care of them, if you want to use us as a resource, that's fine, but the half in and the half out is just, that's, you know, it's one thing when we prepare a plan, write a spec, know what's in it, start out as the main contact with the contractor. That puts us in a little bit different position than coming in later, trying to figure out where things are at, what was bid on, what, you know, where, just trying to learn the whole story. So I'll just say that.
Excellent. Are we good? Any other questions? Thoughts?
No, I just think right now we'll just go through Mr. Walker and then Zach, assist. There,
Yeah.
He's kind of our day-to-day person, boots on the ground kind of thing, so.
Yeah, one other thing related, and we probably don't have to talk about it now, but I overheard some discussions about, you know, like city council member limits, spending limits. And that doesn't always work great on these large construction projects. So there are times when you encounter a change in field conditions that you weren't expecting. You have to make a decision basically on the spot. If you can choose not to make that decision on the spot, but then likely what you're gonna have is the contractor is gonna submit a change order for downtime or for whatever it is. So we can not make a decision on the spot, but then expect that you're gonna get that bill from the contractor. And even though there's language in the contract, that stuff's hard to fight because they really can prove downtime, and there was a change in differing conditions, so there's, you know, you could ask Mr. Rupee about that, but.
We are working on an expenditure limits. Was Al approved from 25 to 5 grand or just 25? I can't remember. 25?
There was talk that it
Question.
was 5.
Question for the engineer. So, in your experience, when you have these big change orders, is it strictly limited to the road type projects, or? That's what I'm thinking, is strictly limited to the road projects?
Yeah, it would be primarily road projects, yep.
So is there, if city council could do something that's specifically to a road project, a spending limit strictly to a road project that's recommended by the engineer or something like that, in that vein, because that kind of gives us that leeway to not incur a bigger cost than it would be if we did the change order at the time.
Or having a special meeting.
Or having a special meeting, which also costs, because we're incurring costs with any special meetings, with all the delays, anything like that. So if we did something like that, it's just a thought. So I just thought I'd bring it up.
Mr. Holm?
I remember back in the day with John Bogart that we had contingency within our estimating on our project, and I would wonder if Mr. Rupee, if maybe we could do a blanket percentage of the project that we could do a change order on the fly. So if we're doing a, you know, $4 million project and there's a $200,000 deal with the subgrade issue that it's gonna hold it up for 2 weeks, and not on an actual dollar amount, but percentage of the overall project to keep the thing moving, keep it efficient. Something we'd have to work on and discuss and develop. And then just to circle back on the discussion that's been leading up to this point, we are running like a township. We still are, and you see it the way we're all involved and everything. And until that day changes, that's kind of the animal we are. Like the mayor said, we're a hybrid. But I do think that certain projects it's dead obvious that, we're gonna be working with one or two primary contacts on a regular basis, but if it turns into something parks, that should be with the park guy. If it's something with, new developments, there's a lot of correspondence with Dan Licht on some of the stuff, just to kind of wrangle the developer and stuff like that. So it's not gonna be a one-size-fits-all to one contact. But at least if we could establish for the 4 or 5 different scenarios we run into, who that's gonna be, so that that person knows that they're responsible to address the issues you have and you to address them, what you see, and then they can disseminate it back. And then, of course, always get it back to the clerk, and the clerk can redistribute it out to the rest of the council. So the rest of the council can come to a meeting informed on the history. I get these emails, I read them. I seldomly reply back on anything with roads or engineering because it just, I don't want to mud the water any more than it is with the 500 emails that come back and forth on something, but it's nice to read it. So I like getting it. That's about it.
Sure, and normally when something is encountered in the field, it's unexpected. I mean, sometimes you find culverts that are buried. Sometimes it's a buried fiber line. Sometimes, it's not always, and there's always just things that happen. In Anoka, sometimes we have huge underground concrete vaults, but normally what we see it would happen in a small city or even a township is there's one person that kind of gets the phone call right away. Maybe we meet them out there, they take a look at it, get their own eyes on it, and then it's an email that goes out to the entire council that says, hey, just so you know, we have the situation. There's gonna be some additional costs. Our preliminary estimate, our first guess is about this much. And that's how we see things keep on track without getting those
Sure, and
delay
if worse
claims.
comes to worse, we could have a special meeting. But,
Right.
and thinking about the contingencies and things like that, as you brought up from Mr. Bogart, I think what you're talking about is a little different than that. This is gonna be after the bid is let and while the construction is happening. Because usually the engineers figure out a price for a project, whatever, with some contingency, 10%, 20%, some number, whatever, and I think that's what you were alluding to.
Yeah, kind of on the front side, but I'm
Yeah.
just trying to
And then after that.
backside.
Yeah, and I mean, and the small stuff, and I guess we'd always kind of considered it small stuff. This is what we have the spending limits for the council members for, whatever, is for the small stuff. But if it's large scale, I mean, one thing we do have the ability to do is jump if we need to. You know what I mean, to get together to, approve things.
Right.
And I mean, dollars, any pennies, that, leave our resources, whatnot, are particular to us. So it's not a problem for us to get together to have to do that.
Sure. Yep.
Anything else? Based on that, any other questions or any other? Are we good? Excellent. So I think, just a roundabout synopsis for that is communication. Communication, whatever. And then we'll try and streamline it to be the specific people that would be in charge of the specific things that you're doing, and we'll go along with that. And this can be kind of a living thing anyway, if we need to make some changes or do something different, whatever, if it's. And the other part of that, I guess, that I do want to say is that, from you guys or us, nothing's off the table either. You know what I mean? Just because Al would be the guy doesn't mean you couldn't get a hold of Tom if you can't get a hold of Al. Or me if you can't get a hold of them, or whatever that is, you know what I mean? Like to keep things moving as much as.
Sure.
Sweet, excellent. Okay, number 4 is discuss, approve, disapprove the 2026 road projects. And we had at the last meeting that we had with you, you had actually put, I think, 2 or 3 or 4 projects in front of us that we thought, because 100th Street and 297th may or may not get, all of the things addressed, whatnot, to be able to do in the 2026 season. So, and then Tom, as you're covering for Al, I'll kind of let you take it here. What are you thinking along those lines?
Well, we definitely had, definitely have 100th and 297th, which we're dealing with. I think you're also getting I think you applied for some kind of grant on 303rd out here. And I think 305th, you said that's kind of a 2-year thing because of the wetlands over there.
Well, 303rd would be as well.
This one, this,
303rd, so the grant awards for the LRIP program are gonna be announced in March, which wouldn't give the city enough time to build that project in 2026. I mean, there's less properties, but there's still easements there. I mean, there's one plat, I think, and then there's other meets and bounds property descriptions. So what we had talked about at the last workshop would be,
option 2.
yeah, and the neighborhood reclaim and paves. If those are generally quicker projects, they're already in a platted neighborhood, you don't have to obtain easements.
That was 302nd, 300th, and
So there were initial talks of that, those streets in 27, but kind of how it ended the meeting was, I think council was supposed to kind of go out and review the roads since the city was more familiar with them than we are. We were kind of going out the 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, we were going off the Allied,
Allied Kip. grading.
yeah, they kind of their conditions, and so we picked the ones with the neighborhood roads with the lower ratings. But also said that, hey, we don't know the city as well as you do. We didn't drive all your roads, and this might be the right order, or it may not be. And I think a couple of council members were gonna maybe you and Al were gonna take a look at some of these roads with Zach, and then provide your recommendation on which ones, if any, you would wanna do in 26.
Mr. Walker, by chance?
We have not done that.
You know what roads are the worst? Is there any of them, let me ask you on the third bullet on option 2?
Yeah, all of those are strong candidates. As the PCI rating is a driving factor for that, those are some of the older developments of the city as well.
So I guess, Mr. Mayor, we have to look at, because I think we all, we're going with option 2 because we get more bang for our dollars in that one, proposed one. So I guess we just want to know bullet number 3 on there, with 302nd, 300th. You know, in case we can't get, 100th and 297th, coming up here this year, if we can't get those done. Go ahead, sorry.
Al has been out trying to get the signatures.
For 100th Street, 297?
Yes. And I did Wayne Olson. And some people are just having, they're not. I think at this point, we're gonna concede that it just isn't gonna happen. And then we need to continue to get the right of way done. Then maybe now next year, we can see if we get far enough along that utilities could get moved, and then next fall, trees grubbed, ready for bid and construction 27. Then the question was, could we move up? We were talking about moving up 303rd, 305th, and you're saying because of the grant application and everything, now we know that that's not gonna happen. Is there any engineering work that needs to happen for 303rd or 305th between now and possible year that we could be doing it?
Yeah,
And when should we be moving forward? I'm in agreeance that we should look at this, what we're talking about right now, for something to do this coming year. But I could just say there's gonna be no major construction from what I can see from my point of view, one council member, that we're gonna get to it.
And I think, when we're looking at these plans, what we're gonna bank on you guys to do is tell us how much. So what we need to start with, and I don't know if you've had a chance to look at any of the budget numbers, Tom, here, whatever, but we have a balance right now of about 660, and we're gonna levy 450 for 2026. So we're looking at about $1.1 million that we're gonna have, and we're gonna need something to be held back for roads and another more whatnot. So we probably, you know, without levying, without assessing, without doing those kind of things, which we wouldn't do anyway, you know, never assessed a project to start with, we probably have $650 to $700,000 that we could spend on whatever this endeavor is. You concur? I mean, here's the balance, the fund
Yeah,
balance
I'll-
as it is now.
I like to, but, I'd also like to do some, you know, microsurfacing too, to get that in there. And some of these,
But that's what we're talking about, right?
yeah. Well, I think microsurfacing, we gotta, correct me if I'm wrong, choose some roads that we wanna do microsurfacing, because we gotta continue doing that. I think everybody liked the results that happened in the business district over there.
It's phenomenal, but I'd like to see what happens on 313th, because if you see how chewed up and beat up 313th was, you know what I mean? I mean, I think that's absolutely alligatored in some spots, and I'm not sure that a microsurface is gonna fix an alligatored condition.
They won't.
Yeah, it doesn't fix it, but it might buy you a few more years. I mean,
I mean, I'm just, for me, okay,
Right.
for me, I'm saying the jury's out.
and that's why we did
For that.
the two roads, was so you can see a microsurface on a road that, where it's the right application, or, you know, at the right time, and one where it's maybe a little bit late, but it still might, you know, you still might like the results, and if you don't have money to rebuild everything right away, so,
Right, it's buying you service life, years to spread your budget out further.
right.
Well, and I guess what I'm getting at is, we probably have realistically in the budget, $600,000 to spend over the 2026 construction season. Where we want to spend it, let's have that discussion.
Right.
What's the cost per mile on the,
Microsurfacing? Oh.
Boy, we don't have any of that, data with us, but probably 300,000, I don't know, you know.
Yeah, per foot,
what's-
I think it was about
What, that'd be more like, no, that'd be more like 750,000 per mile.
I mean, we can bond for this, you know, like a group of these streets here on the third. And then I think microsurfacing is about $50,000 a mile. If you get it bidded earlier, you said you might get that down there a little bit lower, if I'm recalling that right.
Yeah, I mean,
Microsurfacing,
that sounds like it's in the ballpark, yep.
yeah,
Yep.
so,
I'm just saying, you
Yeah.
know, the well is dry after 700,000, so whatever we decide to spend it on, that's what we got to do. You know what I mean? When we're thinking about projects like 100th Street, 297th, we're gonna wind up bonding, that's a whole different thing.
yeah.
And I don't know that we're so we have almost about zero debt at this time, and that's the way we've always lived. You know what I mean? So if we could put a bigger package together and bond for it, that would be similar to what 100th Street. If we can take and encumber the MSA dollars to service the debt on that, then this kind of, I don't want to say it's a small number, because it's not, but it becomes a non-issue for us, right? But now what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and do all of the rest of the repairs, the rebuilds, the reclaims and overlays and that kind of stuff through our levy. So if let's see what 700,000 brings, and if we think we want to do more, wished we had more to do more with, whatever, then this is also going to tell us what our 27 levy probably needs to be for road. Keep going with that.
my suggestion would be to do a mix of the smaller amount of reclaim and pave this coming year. Stay within what we have available. However, don't forget that with the MSA, our percentage that goes towards maintenance, microsurface, because
25%.
throw some MSA roads in that project, so we can.
You're on
So
collector
don't forget about-
streets.
Don't forget about that pot of money being added to what Jay's looking at. I think we can get a lot done with that amount of money that would be satisfied,
And if people could see some examples, if we go in and complete some roads in some of these subdivisions, they can know that that could happen in the future if they support increasing the levy down the road for specifically that. So let's not try to bite off a bunch and take a bond out this year. Just get what we can get done and then either start levying more or, but like I say, I'd rather wait for the whole bonding game until we get to the big bond with the big project and then see that the MSA is paying for that. And then once we prove that out, then maybe we go a little bit heavier on the other stuff, that the local streets that don't go MSA, but I just don't want to get heavy in bonds here too quick.
Mr. Mayor, I got a couple of things to bring up. Crack sealing. There's no plan in here for 26 of crack sealing or any kind of surface treatment. So that's a dollar amount that could take from that lot of money for 26, as well as chip sealing over the gravel. And we got a couple recommendations here for stormwater solutions that or what was curb and gutter. You know, we had talked about some of that. So more so curb, no gutter, and be about those three things: stormwater solutions, crack sealing, and triple chip seal over gravel. Really needs some attention this year. Fatiguing incredibly.
Well, and I think some of the frustration that we've had in the last couple of years too, and leading up to where we are right now, you know, is that we do have a finite budget. And I'm literally, if that's what we're gonna do and decide to do, excellent. The crack sealing, chip sealing, those kind of things, when Tom had said microsurface, I guess I figured that to be in with that. I understand they're different things, but yes. So, in this year, in 2025, with Seal Pros, how many miles or how much of the city did we ultimately get done?
14 miles.
14 miles. So 14 out of the 80 got chip sealed, crack sealed.
Crack seal, polyfiber, routing and everything. I think it was $150,000.
Sounds right, yeah.
Yep, for doing that. And then microsurfacing typically was about 50,000, but due to the essence, we had to get that done before the plants closed the end of the month. It was a little bit higher, and I think it came in around 70, 75.
No, I mean, I think what happened, or I think
Range.
with the microsurfacing, initially, kind of right now, like, hey, what's a rough number for microsurfacing? And we provided a number. But then, once we actually started looking at is it 313th, is that neat? Then we were like, hey, this is in pretty rough condition. We should probably do a double chip seal. Or so it's called a scratch course. And they kind of go in and they fill out all the undulations and then a surface course. So 313th got 2 courses. And then also, if you do striping, I mean, spend pretty easily 8 or 10,000 a mile on striping. So those 2 things were not in the original estimate, but I think the prices that we got were pretty close to what we got even, I think I bid out Credit Rivers in February, and it was really close to what we got in February, so.
Yeah, so, Mr. Mayor, I think what we need is about probably $200,000, maybe 225, if we want to do crack sealing, chip sealing, and some portion of microsurfacing.
That's cool. Now we're down to 500,000.
And then we got further something on down the line that we need to address because of the sinkhole repairs, you know, too. So you got that, and then whatever, if you want to just do one road here or reclaim and pave, that could, you know, be a few $100,000, or, you know, I think that would be.
When we think about reclaim and overlay, is there a part where the project gets so small it's not even worth doing? What I'm getting at? I mean, by the time you got
Yeah.
mobilization, you got the people, all that, whatever.
Yeah, there is. I mean, I think you still will get decent bids on a project that's 300,000, but slightly better bids on something that's 500,000. And once you get at about $1 million, I say you get your lowest unit prices. I wouldn't, I think it's regular and recommended if you have a budget of say $700,000 and you're doing $500,000 reclaim and pay projects, that's every year, that's fine. It's not like you save so much money that you need to wait a year and do it the next year because you might have increases in construction costs where you just lost your,
Well, I guess,
yeah.
maybe I didn't ask the right question, but in what you're saying here, almost no project is too small.
No, there is a project, I mean, there is a case where it's too small, and that's where I don't know if I would go under like 250, 300,000.
And I'm saying that because I think that, you know, through the neighborhood streets and things like that, anything that has been quote developed, you know, unlike 100th Street, we don't have a sub base and those kind of things. Reclaim and overlay will be just that with no surprises. You know what I mean? So whatever the asphalt thickness is now, won't have to do any subgrade changes or anything like that.
Granted, we pick a road that doesn't have a big sinkhole.
Not true, correct. Maybe we pick one with a sinkhole and
Well,
get one of them done first.
131st, 130th, and 314th Avenue, is that would those roads be a consideration? I mean, on here, the estimated price is 602,000, but that also has a couple years of, inflation on it.
You're looking at the, is it the 520? The third, you talking to the fourth,
Right.
fourth line?
Yeah, and, you know, if the city is interested in doing a reclaim and pave project, we need to make our minds up really soon, like, say, at the December meeting, in a couple of days, because, I mean, there's survey, there's plan prep,
Yep.
specs going out for bid. I mean, if you started right now, you're probably not opening bids until April. Ideally, we'd be starting earlier, surveying when there's no snow, opening bids in January, February, you know?
When we're talking reclaim and pave, is that replacing the pavement in kind or bringing the road up to township standard, city standard?
So what we would recommend is that for some of these roads that are like 22 feet or really close, just replace them in kind. Now, you can talk us out of that, but when you widen, that comes with additional risks. Additional risk and additional cost.
I'm looking at these as local streets not need to be, I think the collectors,
If we go through Flower City Estates, whatever,
Yeah.
we're gonna put right back what we're taking out. No changes.
yeah, I think we've only kept that 24 thing on our collector streets. When reconstructing, that's where we got that talk and never touched these local streets, and I don't think we need to change. Picked off when you widen them because people faster.
Agreed. And I think when we get into like, you know, all of those were done with quote our standards, at least at the time. Therefore, we wouldn't have any huge changes in any of that.
Right.
So it would be.
Yeah, and widening, I mean, you saw what happened when we widened 305th. And then you go down and you try to jet out the culverts, and now you know, the ditches don't drain or the inslopes get really steep. So to do that right, you have to replace all the culverts if you do widening. And that just, yeah, more
Well,
and
and
more cost. So,
when we get to a project like that, which we will have to do the widening and we will have to do all.
right,
that as part of the plan.
right.
So,
Go ahead.
so the 131st, 130th, and 314th would be just basically replacing kind. And if we got going on it, we could get this project for this coming year. Is that what we're looking at? That's what?
Yeah, if we got going on that, we could, my guess is we'd be opening bids in April. I mean, we could,
And is that okay? Are we,
That's a big.
is it financially gonna harm us to start a little late on this one?
These three?
I think bidding a project like that out in April is not a big deal because the big contractors are looking for projects like that to fill up the holes in their schedule. The smaller contractors are probably looking for more of those type of jobs.
Yeah,
Where you get in trouble is bidding out something that's $4 million late,
yeah.
because not everybody can do those. Some of the big companies already got their big project for the year.
Or if you want to do 300th or 129th or 299th, too.
So One Mr. Case had brought up, that's gotta be over a mile of road there. 300th, 129th, and 299th, it's, just down here on the west side of 45. Really small, subdivision, probably one of the older ones, I'd say early 90s.
Fisher?
It's in really bad shape. More so than the one just south of it. Well, the PCI rating indicates that as well. But that might be more of a target for the budget that is available there.
So you're saying split up the number third one down, you're just split those up a little bit.
Yeah, line 3, it would,
Yeah.
it
So
would
which
just,
ones would you choose, you're saying?
300th, 129th, and 299th, right?
300?
129th and 299th.
it's in row 3 on the spreadsheet,
Yep.
the 300th, 129th, 299th. It'd be just south of us here on the west side of 45,
And then,
But not 302nd or 127th, correct?
depending on the budget.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we're looking at that, when I go over there and that jump there, I see a $1,400,000.
99, 300, and then, so this is the one like Dale Herney back in there, Morissette, Luke's.
Yeah, Luke's, yep, the Luke's
That
one.
road has been, for 10 years, been
I've been patching it.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, I mean, the other one that we were just talking about is up here, this development. But, I would say this is an older, this one predates that one over there. Age, but.
Mr. Mayor, I'm okay with whatever projects need to get done within the budget that we're looking at. So let's figure out, get these.
Which ones?
Which ones to do and let's get them done, cause we keep kicking it, you know.
We have on approve, disapprove on the agenda here.
You.
And this, Mr. Mayor, one thing, and then we need to do, at least have about 200,000 if we're gonna do crack sealing, chip sealing, because
Right.
the last one was 2021, I believe, and then till this year. So I
Well,
was,
and I think I don't mean to cut you off, Tom, sorry. But I mean, that's, I think, why Shane picked the third one or the fourth one down, because 520 fits in what we're talking about as part of the list.
Mr. Mayor, I think the one that we just specified is pretty close in footage.
Yeah, they're similar.
but I agree with you.
This is the one that.
to do
you're
it.
talking
I agree with you,
520.
pick them.
Well, we know what our we know what our
Well, they're
budget
pretty
is.
close.
If
But
we,
in my opinion, those are the ones down the street from us here are in worse shape.
No, and I don't disagree, nor do I. I mean, that's fine.
we got
So,
700,
but I was just trying to make clear that we want to try and pick 300th, 129th, and 299th out of that group alone. So we're not doing 127.
Shooting for roughly a $500,000 project, close to. Yeah, about five, you see my rationalization that
Yeah.
the distances here are pretty close to these.
Right.
This is the 520 on 2028. This is this road, and that road is what we're calling out
Right.
instead.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I just,
And we're gonna know more about what it's gonna cost. You need to get going on surveying and doing stuff now on that. We come back later and figure out the microsurfacing. We have to adjust, not spending 200,000, but 150,000 or 175, or
Yeah.
whatever. But let's get this one rolling. So I make a motion to approve doing a reclamation and pave of 300th Avenue, 300th Avenue, 299th Avenue, and 129th Street. That subdivision just down the road from here
I'll second that.
for the 2026 project.
Discussion? That, if something comes awry and it's like, boy, that just doesn't fit, from you guys taking a look at it, let us know and we'll have to rethink this. You know what I mean? I mean, if something does absolutely go awry. The motion is second, yes.
One area on that road on the Street, 127th, 29th. I'm confident there's some bad subgrade there that might call for a little bit of soil correction. If you drive the road, you'll see it. Well, maybe not this
No,
season, but
Not now.
I could probably fly you into a pretty good area of where that is. Just wanted to put that out there that there's.
Not a full-blown sinkhole, but
It's
a soft spot.
Yes, it's a,
Well, and
it needs repair off.
as Mr. Holmes said, if that goes a little deeper into that project, but we have to make changes, whatever, on our maintenance, seal coating, or whatever it is we're gonna do at that point in time, then we can talk about it. But it still
Get
fits
this
in.
ball rolling.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries.
There you go, that's unanimous. That was working together. The arrows are.
Gentlemen.
I like it already.
And those are pretty easy projects. There ain't much that can go wrong here.
Okay, that is about it on the 26 projects. And then the next one is discuss outstanding projects. And the one that we have here actually came, I think, from you guys in that, and that is the 278th Culvert Excavation Project. That was this, so. Let's see, 270 Culvert Project, this project was scheduled for survey on October 9th. However, we put it on hold due to the termination letter that we sent on the same date. We will reinitiate the survey and create a plan set in early November.
Yep, yeah, we actually have a preliminary plan set here tonight. We can leave it
okay.
here with Joan and council members. Everyone can look at it and we can
Wait,
put it on as soon as next week's agenda if we want.
Okay.
definitely. All right, any other outstanding projects? That was it, correct? Okay. All right, discuss 100th and 297th reconstruction project update. Basically, you applied for the LRIP, or you're starting to, or about, anyway, we passed the resolutions allowing you to move forward with that.
Yeah, so the LRIP applications have not been submitted yet, but they will be this week.
you know, in March, right? March, you said?
Yeah, and then we find out in March. You know, the two projects have different reasons for scoring. So one of the scoring criteria is actually project readiness, in which 100th and 297th would get a higher score because, you know, it's closer to being ready to deliver. But then I think 303rd would score higher because we talked about the fire department and emergency services and, you know, potentially providing a benefit to a much larger population. So they both have different qualities. If I were to guess, I would say 303rd is more likely to be funded than 100th and 297th. I've submitted applications that are really similar to 100th and 297th in the past, and they haven't been funded. But at the same time, those have been in the metro. And sometimes, you know, being outside the metro, you have a little bit of advantage.
Mr. Mayor, I got one quick question. The DOT and the state and their info do those J terms now.
Right?
Any concern that they might do that to 303rd here? 38 and that kind of thing, because that's, with emergency vehicles, that's gonna make a issue.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm not aware of anything, but really what they would base it on is if there's crash history. If there's crash history, then it would likely,
There's been crashes there, but nothing, there's been crashes there.
Shoot, with the project they're doing in Zimmerman, they've got that new Forest Road carved out all the way over to 169, and they're just, as a new construction, putting a J turn. So anybody on the north side of Zimmerman trying to access 169 is going to.
And that's, I'm just wanted to get your opinion. You worked with, you know, DOT and you work with state, you know, what the possibility of a J turn get put in there, which would be very detrimental to response, so.
That would hinder us for the use of the road, but do you think that would be any part of the criteria in scoring a grant? Would that or could that have any bearing on? It's not there now, that's what
Right.
they would look at?
Yeah, I mean, possibly if MinDOT had some long-range plans to do something there, but,
Did do a study on the stretch from 95. They're looking at improvements along
sure. Yeah, I mean, sooner or later, all the full accesses go away. It just,
And that's just my question. I still think if we get the deal, we fix the road, great. I'm just, you know,
there. Scott would like a bridge, is what he's saying.
well, I just, it is gonna be.
No, we know
a-
that's a different engineering firm.
And it'll be long past when I'm still here, but it is going to be it'll make it problematic to get, because the big rigs crossing traffic and flipping around and then having to go back the other way to get over to 38, you know, which would be a concern. I just wanted your opinion on that. So they apparently are looking at doing more of those, so, thank you.
Excellent. And then Al's working on the signatures, and we thought that somebody stopped in today, so that was a good one. That's a good progress with that. So, I mean, still working on that, so we're trying as
yep,
far as that goes. All right.
plans have been submitted to MinDOT for state aid review, so that's in the works too, so.
Okay, and that's what had to happen to be an MSA road or approved as an MSA road and all of our MSA project, correct?
Right.
All right, number 7 is going to be discuss drainage and storm improvements project areas. This is 284th Avenue, South Sandy, and Lake Diane. So, Tom, Al had added, well, all the rest of these Al had added, so I'm banking on you knowing whatever the scoop is with that.
Yeah, so this one, this was the curb and gutter, right,
Yeah,
on that one?
I could elaborate a little bit more on that. I guess we can start with South Sandy. I've got a little bit of a map here. So, do you guys recall the catch basin that you guys reviewed for South Sandy stormwater? At the south end of it, there's a secondary catch basin. Was deemed to be too small to put the stormwater preserver on it that they had for. The new catch basin is about twice the size. This catches all of the low spot for everything, and we've got a lot of sand on the south side of the road that's going to make it into this new structure and then transmit down. I think it would be worthwhile to investigate putting a little bit more curb in and replacing the outside catch basin with the storm preserver. Being able to channel more of the water and make it similar to 285th at Elk Lake, that surmountable curb that we all seen what happened last spring, how it was all muddy and it wasn't really moving the water, put the curb in, seal the road. Everything's running really nice now.
Good.
Hoping for a similar situation like that here. City councils. That's what Al and I had talked about. Similar nature at Lake Diane. We've got that's the low point. Putting a little bit more surmountable curb in there. Last year we had seen around 250 feet for a pretty good dollar amount. Consideration for city council.
We had these projects, we just had them dumped through the soil water conservation. They turned out real good by Hoyt Construction, but something you guys can look at. I would be.
These are those same areas, just kind of additions onto them.
Yes,
Yeah.
so Lake Diane would mostly be surmountable curb. I think it'd be around 300 feet, give or take, depending on recommendations for.
Just to catch that additional runoff.
Yeah, to contain the sand and the sediment. It's really eroding the edge of the road. Gravel and it's not lasting as well as we'd hope. But what we had seen at 285th and West Elk Lake.
Yeah, just touch base on those.
Zach, in the spring, we'll see. We're not gonna be able to do anything now, but then in the spring, we'll see how much sand is in. That's when you'll get the sand, and we can see it.
Oh, it's there now.
Right, but I mean,
We
with the
can't see
snow,
it though.
we can't see it right
All the
now, but
snow.
once it melts, we'll be able to see it, and then I think we can, as city council, approve something to get done similar to the West Elk Lake thing.
Well, and again, I don't know if there's a possibility for you to take a look at this just from the maps, from the scope, from, you know what I mean? Whatever you have available to look at this point in time. Come up with a budgetary figure for doing these things. You know what I mean? Because then we'll see where that fits. Because right now, what we did by our motion there is, other than snow removal and maybe some other maintenance things that we want to do, crack sealing, we just spent our
Budget.
road and bridge budget for next year. So the question is, I mean, because I wouldn't have no idea, how much would these particular projects cost if you would do that, you know, and get back to a number, and then we can see a budgetary, I don't want to send you down the road of design and all of that at this point in time, just a budgetary number so we could see, well, maybe that's what we do instead of some crack sealing or whatever, right? You know what I mean? Now we're robbing Peter to pay Paul here. You know what I mean? So if we want to keep going down that, you know, at least we'd have some kind of, I mean, does that work?
Well, we're just redistributing.
Absolutely.
We're reallocating. We're not robbing
I know,
anyone.
well,
Reallocating.
well, we're robbing if we really want to do the maintenance stuff, we're robbing.
Yeah, I mean, we just had that kind of standalone project on 285th. I think it was 30,000 roughly. That's my, just going off memory. So I'm guessing these projects would be similar. If they're a little bit longer, maybe it's
That was
40.
just curbs, so that would probably fit in the Lake Diane, budgetary number, but replacing this catch basin with a bigger one, putting the, is it a skimmer grade? Yeah, putting something, a fixture on there to try and mitigate the amount of sand that's making it into the rest of the structures. Sounded really good, to promote better water quality, all of it, and make the road last longer. But important to note that if there's going to be construction on these roads, that's going to put a roadblock up for doing any triple chip seal over these really fatigued areas. And that's another dollar amount to plan for. Well, if we've already exhausted everything on this pave, then are we going to be able to do chip seal on top of this?
Got
when it's all
sinkholes
wrapped up?
next too.
Right, spread pretty thin.
Yep.
Saying. So, would, I think you need to get a little deeper into what we're actually asking. I think we'd be shooting ourselves in the foot if we say, yeah, we can take $30,000, $60,000, $70,000, whatever, out of what we thought to do these. Plan on doing that and find out it's a bigger number, right? I mean, or are you pretty confident sitting right here that we could use that number to?
I've never even seen these areas, so I'm not.
That's what I'm saying.
And also I'm wondering
Remember this
too,
communication and clarity, this is what I'm
right?
trying to do.
Mr. Mayor, these projects need to get done, but will the world end if we wait till next year's, the following year, 27? You know what I'm saying?
So the city invested a lot on the triple chip seal and the gravel, and
No, but I meant that same, the one you were just describing at South
yes,
Sandy.
they tie in together, because if we're gonna be doing some construction work of putting new structures in the ground, it would really be counterproductive to put equipment out there on top of freshly done triple chip seal. It will not survive, and we're already heavily fatigued, like 6
So if
years,
we-
we probably should have done it at 3
So if we
years.
did the triple chip seal in 26, and we waited till 27 to fix this,
Wouldn't recommend it.
You'd be
oh,
ripping
what he's
it
saying
out.
is you have to do the opposite order almost.
okay.
Because you're digging a big hole to put in a catch basin.
Well, and that's kind of what I figured, but I
Yeah.
wanted to clarify that, so.
So like right now, West Elk Lake triple chip seal area, In my opinion, it's ready to do a triple chip seal this 26 season. But Lake Diane, we've got some deficiencies along the edge going to that drainage swale that may not be, it may be counterproductive to go in there and triple chip seal it for, $60,000.
I think we just wait to see what the numbers come back on 290, on the 3 road projects we have, and then we can revisit this.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with doing it, but we're up against a budgetary ceiling, and we're just not gonna be able to do it we're just not.
And if the reconstruct project shows up around 500,000, then you've got 200 left in the levy for
Microsurfacing, crack chip, yep.
surfacing chips.
He's not
cracks
counting,
and like.
not counting the
Correct.
dollars.
I think we can look at these probably earlier in 2026.
Yeah, let's just,
Maybe review in March?
and see where we got money available to do it with.
Yeah, because we got the next one, I won't jump the agenda, but there's some concerns there.
Paper or what?
Well, there it is. We're getting a lot of phone calls.
Yeah, right. So, well, on 284, if you can look into those and give us some numbers on what those are. Is that what we've decided here, or are we gonna do that only after we find out what the road projects are?
Well, I think we should need to know the numbers so we can forecast.
Clarity, that's all I'm asking for. Okay, all right. So these numbers, and then the road projects are a go. That's been established. This is what we're asking you to take a look at too, to give us at least budgetary numbers. I don't think we need to go deep into the design unless it's just so simple. It is what it is, you know what I mean, kind of thing.
Yeah, we'll give those, Zach. I mean, at this point, we're not gonna be able to see
Yeah, no,
anything,
thank-
so
Yeah.
we'll just get something rough and, a budget number.
Okay. Excellent. Moving on. Number 8, Tom, this is your baby.
Yes, sinkholes. So we had the soil borings done, I believe, it was 10 of them. We got those back, the results. But they're kind of like in, I could say if you guys looked at them, kind of engineer.
Greek?
Greek to me. So so what I'm looking at for you guys is kind of decipher which ones are the worst ones. Like the top 3, and to look at it, because we have been getting a lot of phone calls on those.
How do you define worse?
Well, I mean, they
This
got,
one maybe drops down a foot and then comes back up a foot, that's
Well-
pretty bad. This one doesn't drop down much, but it's 20 feet deep of stuff. So
I guess is one
Traffic volume.
phone call wise worse? I guess specifically
Yeah,
more
you
than
know the
others
3
phone
worst
calls
ones.
or?
Lake Diane Road. 7th, I forget the road number of that one. The one, you and Mr. Walker went and visited, just south of County Road 9, that'd be 290th.
this one you and Al visited.
290th and 131st. It's on 131st Street. That one's 131st, Jeff.
Yeah.
Just south of County Road 9.
One of the sinkholes is really on 200.
Yeah, it wraps to the south side of that small development.
Right by there, by Trevor Olean's corner there.
Cause yeah, what I'm thinking about getting those,
School bus go through.
getting those done. I know you guys from previous meetings said, we can probably handle the sinkholes in-house. But just to get your, feedback from them, findings, on those 3 streets or 3 areas you just mentioned.
Okay, so just provide Zach some feedback.
Yeah, provide Alan,
Okay,
and then he can forward that to Joan, and so we'll have numbers.
Would some of that look like you guys can review the soil boring geotech report and say, we've got a tree at 4 feet, or we've got, some sort of soil corrections that should be made between
Yeah, they gave it to us.
4 foot and 6 foot organic material.
I think Sam
I'm not
did.
sure how it reads in the geo reports, but something that council and contractors can cipher and have a action plan with it.
Yeah, because we got some good contractors that have done sinkhole repairs, and, you know, I think we all voted at the time to get the soil borings to know what we're up against.
Sure.
And you got those, because you forwarded them to us, I think probably 2 months ago, month and a half or
I
so.
have them right here. if you want to read
So, yeah, in those areas, just those three. You want to repeat the streets? It was 277th?
No.
Lake Diane Road,
Lake Diane Road, north of 277,
Oh, north, okay.
131st Street. Well, and 289th, it's on that corner of the two, so it's a bit hard there. And then 138th Street,
138th Street.
138.
I think to be as clear as mud, if looking at that, decipher that, say, yeah, it's a sinkhole, it looks bad, but there's no surprises. It doesn't look like there's any surprises, or I'm not, because we can't, unless we tell them to actually go out and take a look at that and stand there while they're digging out the hole. Or if you see something big, you know what I mean, from the reports that says.
How deep down do they go on them? Borings.
I think we called for like 10 footers unless they ran into bad stuff, and then we told them to keep going.
Okay.
Yep.
So,
So technically, we should have
Basically
holes
tell
all at
us-
the bottom.
hey, they ran into stuff here, here, and here.
Yeah, we could help interpret the soil borings, but then just to be clear, we're just providing you
The findings.
the findings, and
interpretations
then
of the
yeah.
soil borings.
from
One
there,
bore hole.
from there, yeah, 1 6-inch hole. And then from there, you'll just develop a scope of work, solicit quotes from contractors, and present those to council and everything.
Yep,
Yeah, we will do that.
yep.
You won't do that.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
Just giving this interpretation.
Yeah, we can interpret the borings.
6 inches within 20 feet. Okay, let's see here, seal over gravel program, and actually, I'm just kind of thinking, gentlemen, tell me if I'm wrong, but the 5-year capital improvement plan, at least discuss the service treatment, until we get our numbers to understand what we're gonna actually do for 2026 in these two are rather moot, right? Unless there's something more you want to discuss with the seal program. Seal over gravel. I'm gonna call it triple chip seal, because that's what I'm.
Was there?
At one of the prior city council meetings, city council had moved to do all 3 triple chip seal programs this 20. We're doing these catch basins and curb in Lake Diane and South Sandy. Counterproductive to go after obtaining bids on those. That's where West Elk Lake is really the only viable one at this time to go after a quote for, because everything, all the prereqs are done.
Makes sense. So that really doesn't include Hawkinson Anderson, that's a council decision is what you're
Council
asking.
decision, who you guys want to run the program, and do all of that.
At this point in time, let's see
Get
if
some
we even
numbers.
have that, you know what I mean, where we're at with what we need after we get our numbers from these guys, whatnot, for the projects we're talking about. Okay, number 10, discuss surface treatment of the 5-year CIP.
I think we already discussed that, about up to 200,000, depending on where the 3 roads we approved tonight, and where we come in for that.
Well, and, you know, we're not gonna know, what I always say is every step of the way, our information gets a little bit better. So, you know, right now, we have a CIP estimate, which is just basically a generic, cost per foot of road. And it doesn't take into account a lot of variables, but that's, you know, that's what you do at the CIP level. As we perform work on it, do plans and specs, and come up with actual quantities, yeah, we'll know more, but that might not be until March.
Yep.
And then after we have plans and specs and we go out for bids, well, we might not have those bids until April. And probably, you probably don't want to wait until April,
For the or for the chip seal, crack seal.
to have this discussion, or, so I think in the meantime, we could work on,
Like we did before, we get like 13 or 14 miles of road, or not road, miles that we did for the crack sealing. And then we want to cut that back to 10 or whatever it is.
Target a subdivision. That might be
Yes.
Easier
Yeah,
with this one.
right,
okay, we can take that in.
Well, in the short run, you're gonna get the actual footages for those roads and narrow it down, you know, like you said, whittle down, get closer to the number as we go.
right.
Right now, we're in the dark. Soon we'll be in the light.
But it's snowing, so we're golden.
Right.
But we can do that, you and Al. Next, because we did quite a few developments on the other side of, by Young Park. Just south of there, we did, Country Ridge, 98th Street, developments over there. There was a couple, they're spread out.
Mr. Mayor? Yes. I think what we're gonna find out after this year, if we go with this little mix we're doing here, that we've already approved to move forward on the reclamation and pave and continue to do the crack fill. I think we're gonna find that we're gonna want something to the tune of 500,000, 600,000 a year for these reclaims and, you know, 150,000 or 200,000 for these surface treatments and another 100,000 for wild card projects. And that's not even counting any collector street MSA deals. This is just the ongoing local street stuff. So then for as future levies and budgets, we can start actually using a number that we can plug into this CIP and go from there.
Because as we see here, you know, they go up from here. You know what I mean? A couple of them, the next 3/20th and a half, the next one.
Well, and there's a comfort threshold of how much we want to levy though.
Correct.
So I'm just saying, we're gonna have to figure out that palette of how much per year and
And along
hold
that
on it.
lines, yes, along that lines, what we have done, especially as a township, I've said this before, and it has worked. Literally, the levy that we're working with this year is not all that different than the levies we're quote, normally used to working with. And what we would do is, we would do the engineering work on a project in year one, if you will. Then we'd do the soil corrections if necessary, and the first lift, if you will. Then the second lift or the wear course in year three. So this let us split up engineering and some work and the whole project, whatever, over 3 years. That allowed us to do some larger projects, some other projects and those kind of things, not actually have to go out and bond for it. I don't know if you're normally used to working that way or if it works in, but I think that's what we're gonna wind up doing, because technically, even, I think it's $670,000, whatever, that we have in MSA funding. It's like 150,000, let's say, for the 25%. Maintenance type things, whatever, So the rest of it on a $4 million project, when this finally does come to fruition, is gonna eat up and encumber all of that MSA dollars for the next, quote, say 10 years, if that's what we bond for. Right, so, I mean, every 10 years, we're gonna do a big project like that, or at least until we can see the light at the end of the tunnel and getting out from under the bond on that, whatever, so we can begin the quote, next one, so.
Yeah, the only advantage of 100th and 297th being pushed out is we'll build up a couple of years of MSA funding. So you have 25, 26, and 27. So you might have,
So it does compound that way. There's more information that I didn't know. So in other words, we will not, by not doing an MSA road in 2026, we will save that money and actually be able to bank those dollars.
correct.
The 600,000, well.
Yep, that money is deposited, or not deposited, but it's
Earmarked.
yeah, earmarked for the city of Baldwin. So if is it like 400 and some change for construction dollars? Correct. So you'd have roughly 1.2 million kind of in the bank
3 years from now.
3 years from now.
What about our $20,000 LGA payment? Or what do we do with that?
thrown out, probably. Okay, well, that's good to know. I did not know that.
And remember, when with the, once it lets out the bid, you can start doing draws on it, right?
You can, yep.
And when we do a draw, I would suggest we do a draw to recoup the engineering expenses to the project that we've paid out to date. Put it back into the road and bridge and use it for local streets.
Well, we'd have to. I mean,
You know what I'm
because
saying?
those are the dollars we're using now to quote float.
We're floating and we're gonna refund that back to the road and bridge projects, and then in that year, when we get that money, we can throw that towards these other local street projects.
So we're also gonna ask you to help us learn the game, because especially for that, that's a revelation for me. I thought it was more of a use it or lose it kind of a thing.
No, it's,
And we captured 2024's well. Call from a prior meeting that you guys helped the city capture the 2024 dollars as well, so made it eligible prior, we became a city in November, and they helped us make sure that that was captured before 5 rolled around, so we've got 3 years.
No, that was to ensure the 2025.
Oh, we did,
Incorporated
we were
20.
not eligible for the 2024 MSA?
I think we were trying to beat the clock so we didn't miss the allocation period as prior to the beginning of the year.
Prior to 25.
Correct.
I was hoping for that 2020.
I'd like you to be right.
Me too.
Okay. So with all of those things, I think we're looking pretty good. I mean, tell me if we're wrong, if you need anything. And again, like I say, what, 5-year CIP development, that's what you're working on now. That's what you guys are gonna begin to work on, right? And, or continue to work on, whatever.
Yeah, the surface treatment.
So at this point in time, do we want anything from Hawkinson Anderson on the surface treatment program?
I just think we just get to get the mileage of roads we want to do. Developments, subdevelopments, and touch base, Alan.
I think we can collaborate with them when it's
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, that's, but I mean, tonight, are we looking for anything from Hawkinson Anderson on that? I don't.
No,
I think we just need to
Not until we get you
evaluate,
guys-
within how, in-house, evaluate which roads we wanna do and what we wanna do to them. And I would just assume that you're not gonna get $200,000 this year with all the other things we talked about tonight, so keep that in mind, maybe pare it down to 8-10 miles and do better the next year. My suggestion.
Alrighty, if that's the case, then I'll,
Motion adjourned.
motion adjourned. Is there a second, motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. We are adjourned at 8:35. Gentlemen, thank you.
And all motions were unanimous.
They were, that's amazing, because they haven't been lately.
Have a safe drive back.
Yeah, drive fast, take chances.
Sorry you had to come out with
It stopped snowing.
Could be tomorrow night, well, it's gonna be even worse.
did it let up already?